So today we're going to be talking about translating algebraic expressions. So we're changing a number problem into words, so the word form. But before we start translating, I want to talk about what an expression is versus an equation. An expression contains numbers, symbols, and operations such as plus, minus, times, or division that are grouped together with no equal sign. So circle that no, there's no equal sign. Put a star next to it. Equations do not have an equal sign. So some examples of an equation are like x plus 4, 5y minus 2. We could do 7 plus 1. There's no equal sign, so they don't equal anything. We can solve them, but there's no sign. An equation says that two expressions are, or numbers/variables, are equal. So there is an equal sign, and you can remember this easily because equations start with this almost the word equal. So they have EQUA, and equations say that two expressions are equal. So it has an equal sign. Exclamation mark. Put a star next to it, circle it. Remember, equations have equal signs. So some examples of an equation are 2 plus 1 equals 3, x plus 2 equals 7, or we could do 7 plus 1 now equals 8. We solved that problem. It has an equal sign. So equations have equal signs, expressions do not have equal signs. So now we're going to look down at the bottom of our paper, and today we'll be writing numbers into, or problems into word form. So when you see the word a number is representing a variable, like x. That just means we don't know what that number is. So for example, a number is equal to 4. That would be like saying x is a number and it equals 4. So when we're translating, we need to know words that represent specific operations. Name the synonyms below that are used for our operation words. So when we see these words, it's going to tell us what type of operation we need to do. So when we're doing addition, if we see plus, that means addition. So 6 plus 2. Increased by. You could also see sum. That tells us addition. So the sum of 3 and 5 is 8. 3 plus 5 equals 8. More. More than. And more than is a special one because when you see more than, you need to switch the orders of the numbers. So put a star next to this one. That one's really important. And we'll talk a little bit more about that on our next page. Add to, total means addition in all. Then we have subtraction. We have minus, decreased by, difference, which we see saw in our integer problems a lot. So difference, less, and less than. Oopsie. And less than is another special one, so I want you to put a star like it next to it. It's just like more than. You have to switch the order of the numbers when you see it in a problem. Then we have subtracted from, reduced by, or take away. So words that represent multiplication, or that we need to multiply, are times, the product, twice, which means times 2. Double times 2, we need to double a number, multiply by 2. Half, or of. Then we have the division words, which is quotient of, divided by. So 6 divided by 3 equals 2. Per, and a ratio of. So if we see these words, it's telling us what operation we're doing. So there's also some other things that tell us what we need to do. So equal, so there's other words that mean equal. So is one of them. So 5 plus 1 is 6. Is representing the equal. Same. 1 plus 4 is the same as 5. Oh, I'm sorry, that was the same as. Is equivalent, is equal to. So 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Then we have parentheses. So this means that we have to put parentheses around the numbers that we're talking about. So quantity, the sum of, the product of. So if we have 4 times the sum of 3 plus 7, that's saying we have to do 3 plus 7 and then multiply that 4. Then we have the exponent, so x squared equals a number squared. And then this is super important, this right here. This step is showing us, I'm going to highlight it so we remember. This is so important. Remember this. When we have, or when we see less than or more than, we need to change the order. So like I said on the other page, if we have less than, we need to switch the order. More than, we need to switch the order. I always think more than reminds me of move that, because then almost looks like that. So I need to move that number. Less than, I need to move that number. Then looks like that. So for example, we have 6 less than a number. So we have 6 less than means switch, and it's subtraction. A number, which we don't know, so we'll have x. We need to switch the order of these numbers when we write it as our expression. So x minus 6 is how we would write it. Now here's an example. We have the expression first, and we need to write it in words. We need to switch the order, so 9 more than a number. So notice we switched the order. The 9 had to come first. 9 more than means our addition. A number is our variable. Now we're going to look at the bottom of our page, and we're going to be writing these words into algebraic expressions. So we'll be translating them. So when you do this, I want you to write the number and what the word means underneath it. So we have 4, and it increased, so plus, by 12. So our expression is just 4 plus 12. So the next one we said 3 decreased by 9. Decrease means subtract by 9. Our expression is 3 minus 9. Now this one could be a little bit tricky. We have twice, so 2 times 40 means equal. So we have an equation this time, and it is 80. So twice 40 is 80. 2 times 40 equals 80. Okay, we're going to turn the page. And we're going to continue doing from verbal to expressions. So twice 4 increased by 9 is 17. So twice, so that means times. Oopsies. So 2 times 4 increased by 9. Increased means plus. By how many is 9? Is equals in 17. 2 times 4 plus 9 equals 17. So exactly what we're saying is what we're writing down. So this one could be a little bit tricky, but we can do it. So the quotient of 6 and 3 less 1. So quotient means divide. So the quotient of 6 and 3 less means minus 1. Now, we can't write the division sign 6, 3, minus 1. That doesn't make sense. But the quotient of 6 and 3 is telling us that 6 divided by 3 minus 1. Or we could also write it as 6 divided by 3 minus 1. Now our last one's another tricky one, but we will just be careful. So we have 4 times the sum of 3 and 4. 4 times means multiply, the sum of, which tells us that the sum of is in parentheses, so the sum of 3 and 4 will be in parentheses. So the sum of, and sum means addition, 3 and 4. So 3 plus 4 so the sum of 3 and 4. So we have 4 times 3 plus 4, or we can also write it as 4 times 3 plus 4. Okay, now looking down at the bottom of your page, we're going to be going from expressions to the word form. So write down exactly what you say when you read the problem. So if it's easier for you to read the problem out loud or read it in your head, do that, because it's going to be so much easier to write it down on the paper. So I'm going to say 6 times 7. So we need to write 6 times 7. We could also write this as 6 multiplied by 7. Now our next one is a half times 8. So half of 8 is one way. Half is representing our number, of is multiply, 8. Or we can also say 1/2 times 8. Okay, I want you to take a second and pause the video in a moment. I want you to think of 17 minus 6. I want you to write it on your own and check your answer when you're ready. Go ahead and pause. So we have 17 minus 6. So 17 minus 6. Exactly what we said. We could also write 6 less than 17. Our next problem says 4 times the sum of 9 plus 3, or 4 times the quantity of 9 plus 3. So 4 times the sum of, that's telling us that it's in parentheses, or 4 times the quantity of 9 plus 3. Okay, our next one is even trickier, but we got this. So think we have parentheses. So we could say quantity. We also could say product because we're multiplying. So we could say the quantity of 2 times 6 plus 15 equals 27. We could say the product of 2 times 6 plus 15 is 27. So there's many different forms. So just think about how you say it. 2 times 6 plus 15 equals 27, or the quantity is telling us the parentheses. So the quantity of 2 times 6 plus 15 is 27. Or the product of 2 times 6 increased by 15 equals 27. Okay, so make sure you read the problem to yourself out loud and then write. Or when you're reading the words, be careful and write the signs below it to solve your problem. Never forget that more than and less than mean flip. Move that number. We have to move it when we have more than or less than.